Hi, welcome back to Dare Tell Darla, where you get to tell your story your way. No matter what it is, the subject doesn't matter, it can be anything. Um, I have another story here from Judy, who happens to be my mother, and we're loving this because these stories are being compiled and they're just always going to be around. So when she's gone on somewhere else to another dimension, her stories and her truths will live on this way. And I just think that's so beautiful. And if you want to start that, if you want to do that also, write into me and I will share the story. Sorry, I have hair in my mouth. Okay. Also, I want to let you know that in this story, she moves to Mount Shasta. And I just learned this a couple days ago from my friend. Her name's Kayla, and I won't use last names because I don't have her permission. But she was telling me like the world or the earth has chakras, and Mount Shasta is the first chakra. And I thought that was pretty cool. I did not know that. All right, let's get on with the story. And by the way, if you haven't liked this or subscribed or shared or hit the bell, whatever, please do so. Okay, here we go. Hi, my name is Judy. I know this story is going to seem impossible, but the whole thing is true. And believe it or not, that's up to you. In the beginning, I lived in my hometown of Healdsburg, California, with my husband who wanted a divorce. Those things happen. I had to move in a hurry, and he remarried a few months after our divorce. I add this because this is the reason I moved from there. My daughter Darla, who lived in Mount Shasta, encouraged me to move up there. I was devastated and couldn't think for myself, and she helped me get on my feet again. So I bought a little mobile home and fixed it up. And she did. Oh my gosh, I know I'm interrupting the story, but it was so adorable. And we painted that whole thing ourselves on the outside. We did a great job. People wanted to hire us, but we did a really good job. Anyway, I lived there for about 3 years until I put my name in on a really cute apartment. It took a long while before it was available. In the meantime, I sold my little home and was ready for my next adventure. When I walked into my apartment, I couldn't believe my eyes. It was so cute. I lived on the second floor, so the view out of the bay window in my living room as well as in my bedroom were the tops of the trees. Some were evergreens and others had brilliant red, yellow, and orange leaves because it was late fall. When the wind blew, the sound was rustling the leaves and it lulled me to sleep. And then when it snowed, it felt as if I were in one of those snow globes that when you shook it, snow drifted over the treetops and houses with wood smoke curling up into the sky. I loved it. I love it. I called it my treehouse. These trees are so close to the windows. I could almost reach out and touch them, but the sunlight still filtered in and it still felt cold, safe and cozy. I didn't have a feeling of anything abnormal at first. I was too busy unpacking and getting organized. Things didn't get weird until I settled in for a while. I know this sounds crazy, folks, but I am very sensitive to unusual energies around me, and my first encounter with the spirit took place when I was doing the dishes. It came up to my back and just stood there. For some reason, I knew it was a man. I don't remember if it responded or not, but then during those years, I began having conversations with him like, "You've been gone for a while," or if he was really bugging me, I'd tell him to knock it off and go away. I knew he was friendly because he never did anything to harm me, nor did I have, or I'd have been out of there so fast. Other entities came around, though, that I literally had to demand to leave in the name of Jesus Christ. These particular entities came at night while I was sleeping. They would push on my bed to wake me up. And one time I got slapped in the face. I also got scratched. And I hate to interrupt stories. I don't typically do that. But when she mentions that she called on Jesus Christ, that is what certain people believe, and they do, to make the bad stuff go away. And it's worked. for many people. I'm just going to say that much. I'm not telling you what to do or anything like that. I'm just sharing I'm trying to make an understanding of this. Okay. One time, though, a wonderful occurrence happened. I was sound asleep and suddenly something soft misted my face. The fragrance was entrancing, sweet and soft, unlike anything I had ever smelled before. I still slept, thinking it was a dream, but the fragrance lingered on my pillow. The next morning, until the next morning, and in fact, whatever it was accidentally sprayed on my mirror, which was on a wall behind me. The next morning, my door was still locked, so how'd that happen? For some strange reason, these occurrences didn't alarm me. They were very curious indeed, but this is nothing compared to what happened next. Pretty sure you won't believe me. But as the good Lord is my witness, it happened. Now, I've lived in this apartment for almost 12 years at this point. Oh, I almost forgot this part. I had gone to a painting class when I was around 8 or 9 years old. I had painted a ceramics crucifixion of Christ hanging on the cross. I am 75 now, so I've kept it a long time. Oh, that makes me giggle. Okay. I thought maybe if I hung this on the wall above my head, it might keep the boogeyman away. I hadn't ever hung it up in all these years until now, and you know what? It worked. No more occurrences. Of course, I have to admit, I've had my apartment blessed as well. I was never afraid when these occurrences happened because I knew I could call on Jesus and he would put a hedge of protection around me. But back to the most unbelievable occurrence of all. I fell asleep on my couch about a month or so ago. Without moving, I opened my eyes, and standing right beside my couch, looking down at me, was, I believe, the man spirit I talked about earlier. He was 40-ish with dark hair, a dirty white t-shirt that was crumpled, and dark-colored pants. My eyes got big and round, and so did his. But snap, he disappeared, and I laid there stunned. I'm not afraid. I mean, he was here and when I moved in. I'd just never seen him before. So I didn't feel intruded upon. I mean, he could clean up a bit. Ha ha ha. Okay. My daughter, Darla, really wanted me to write about these experiences. And of course, I didn't want to. Would you? But dadgummit, these things really took place. What can I say? Yes, I still live here. No, I'm not going to move. I'm just not afraid. Maybe he's my guardian angel. It figures. Ha ha ha. I'd really, really like to know if anybody out there has had similar things happen to them. I can't believe I'm the only one. I don't believe so either. I know you're not the only one. Oh, and one more tidbit that I saw up here by the mountain volcano, Mount Shasta. When I lived in my mobile home, Darla came flying through the door yelling at me to come with her at once, and I did. On the way, she said she had seen a UFO and wanted to show me. It was only about a mile or so away. She came to a stop over an overpass and pointed to where she saw it. There was a small cloud with some sort of light behind it, but then it just all rolled up and disappeared. Just like that. Poof. I was a believer in UFOs after that. Not that I wasn't before, but seeing is believing, right? And as the moral of the story, if you're thinking of moving to Mount Shasta, you'd better be ready to encounter some very unearthly things because this place is full of unusual things. Let's just say it's not boring to live here. I'm joking around a bit, but I'm also dead serious about what happened to me. Interesting use of words. The end. Okay, so that's a great story. And to comment also on the UFO part, what was happening, my mother and I lived 1 mile apart from each other. And so from my exit to her exit, I was looking at this. They have lenticular clouds there. That happens all the time. They're just lenticular clouds, the round ones. And they kind of look like a spaceship all by themselves. But I didn't think anything of it. But I was watching it move very slowly during this mile. And, because it wasn't real high up. It was, it was just the way it was moving. It was just barely slowly going up. But the problem was, it wasn't dissipating. Clouds, when they move, they dissipate. This one was not dissipating. So I called my mom ahead of time and told her to be ready. But when I went in there, I rushed her out as quick as possible because I was excited. This was a big deal. We got back there just in time. She still saw the cloud. It was still moving. And then, like she said, rolled up, then there was like that light there and it just, poof, it was gone. It was just gone. So it was higher up at this point. But the thing was, you can see what was happening. It was just this normal lenticular cloud that we see over Mount Shasta all the time. So most people aren't really paying attention. And then, poof, it's gone. That's the one that, that stuck with me. And it stuck with her too for a reason. Now, do you have any stories to share with me? If you do, email me at mecalgal@gmail.com, mecalgal@gmail.com. I will share your story. You may remain anonymous, or if you want to share your name, that's fine too. Your location, all the details, little details. I don't care. Write to me, folks. All right, and hit that like button if you haven't done so already. Take this moment and hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. That's what that's for. And then hopefully this will just circle around and circle around, and it won't poof like the UFO did. All right, folks, see you later.